Miller Highlights here. Going to do a box opening on the LAUNCH Creader Professional 129X. And it's a scan tool. As you can see, I'm an ASC master and master technician on another product, retired. So I really don't need the expensive scanner, but this one's pretty full featured. I would say this is useful for professional. Anybody that gets beyond this that's not a professional really wouldn't benefit from the higher priced units. For at home use, this is more than enough. And so I just need a better scanner to upgrade. And looks like a good scanner. It's got a lot of full features to it. It's got your diagnosis, got your OBD2, and got your reset functions for TPMS, SRS, and some other functions. And then battery voltage. You got your IM where you can actually see your diagnostic codes and so forth. You got your update function. You can see live data. And then you got your settings. And this is touch screen. And then you also have the manual buttons on the right there. So I haven't opened it. I haven't set it up or used it. I'll probably save the camera time and just go through the setup and do the updates. And because that's going to take a while after I hook it up. But I'll open it up in just a sec here, and then we'll test it out on my Mitsubishi Endeavor and see what kind of issues we find. For somebody like me, this is going to be real useful as a professional. A DIY person, do it yourself. They probably won't get the full benefit out of this. A lot of the numbers on there just won't make sense to them. But that's okay because it has thresholds in the scanner to let you know if it's in and out of specification. It'd turn red if it's out of specification. It'd be blue if it's in specification, something to that effect. So very useful scanner for professional and non-professional for home use. In a shop, I wouldn't buy something like this. I'd spend a lot more money. But for my needs at home, being retired, Amazon, this was looked like a good buy. And so we'll check it out and see how it does. One thing I do want to mention about scanners. In the old days, scanners were just fancy electrical voltmeters. The true professional would actually go through it and diagnose and verify, because you got to remember that when you read a code on the scanner, it only means that that circuit or system is out of value. Okay, it doesn't mean that that part is necessarily bad, especially if you get 2, 3, 4 erroneous codes coming up, or related codes, or even unrelated codes. A lot of times it can be maybe just dirty connectors on the ECU, which is really pretty common. So don't take this to heart that just because it says a component's bad, that it's bad. You still got to know what you're doing to go through and diagnose and check your values before you go assuming that that item's bad. And a lot of times it is correct. When it says an item's bad, it's bad. So the difference between the old days and now is everything's data stream. So you do need a tool like this these days to check a lot of components through the data stream to find out where to look. But from there, you still got to go through and do your diagnosis and get out a regular voltmeter and check your values on your component, do a visual inspection, things of that nature in order to really diagnose it. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, charge it up, and I'll see you on the other flip side there. All right, let's open this thing up and take a look at it. Okay, that's how it comes. Got your launch scanner. Comes with serial port. I think it's a 15 pin and your DLC connector. And let's see, get this thing out. In there kind of tight, which is not a bad thing. So there's our scan tool. There's our connector. And got a nice case for it. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Okay, there's our launch scan tool. And let's see what's in here. Okay, open up the case. It's actually a pretty nice little case. It's got some instructions in there. I'm not going to go into that. Instructions are instructions. If it doesn't have any pretty pictures, nobody looks at them anyway. Quick start guide. I'm sure it's in several languages, including Nihongo, Japanese. And then it comes with a USB charge cable. And there's your, let's move that down there. That way you can see it. And that's pretty much how everything comes. So now any unit that they ship, if it's in good shape, should be fully charged. We'll see. Let's pull off the protective cover to the scan tool here. Get my guitar nails. In case you see it on camera, I'm a classical guitarist, so there's my guitar nails. Okay, and let's flip this puppy on and see what we got. In fact, we'll use this case kind of tilted up a little bit for the camera there. There we go. Just had to hold it on for a minute. First push was kind of a quick push, but you got to hold it on there for a sec and then it'll turn on. And it's at 98% charge, so it says welcome to use CRP129X. So hit start, select English, next up. I thought I hit English. Try that again. Okay. And select time zone. Let's see. They got America. Where's West Coast? Pacific. Honolulu. There we go. America, Los Angeles. That's pretty close to where I'm at. And let's see. Looks like it doesn't support 5G. It supports 2G. So I'll sign on to my network here. And get a pin. It'll be a little easier. Okay, I'm connected to my 2G service. Going to click on next. Let's try that again. And it's got a QR code set up for your phone. But I haven't downloaded the app or anything like that, so I'll deal with that later. And it gives you the option to put in your email that you can send your screenshots to, shop name if you want, address, telephone numbers, and I'll cut this stuff out. Okay, gives you all the disclaimer BS, privacy policy, like anything's private anymore. Service agreement, you gotta check I agree, and hit OK. And there we are on the main screen. Shows I got 45 updates. So what I'm going to do is go through the update process, and then we'll actually look at the functions and diagnostic functions after the update, and we'll get back to that. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm in my car. We're going to hook this scan tool up to my Mitsubishi here. I hooked it up, and it automatically starts scanning for the VIN code. You get the ding, which tells me that it found the scan code. So I'm going to hit OK. Now it's going to go through a quick diagnostic. And for some reason it still asks for the model. And even though mine's a 2005, it's showing 2006, but it's the same thing. All-wheel drive. And I'm not sure what the LR gel number is, but I just picked the top one. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. So now it's going to scan the systems for a report. I do all my own work. It should be in pretty good shape, but we'll see. So it shows, goes through the test, and then it gives you a report. You can go down through the report, and shows normal for everything. If there was a failure or a code set, it'd tell you right here and where the problem area is. But it shows completely normal and everything. Then you can go to live data. But now, one thing I'm not a big fan of is, as far as a process, you go through this. If there's an error, you can't go straight to live data. So you have to exit this session, or if there is any codes, you can actually click the clear code here. But you can also do your report. You can email your report and look at it at a later time. But there's no codes to clear, so we're not going to do that. After reading your diagnostic codes, you can actually go to, if there's any faults, you can, or in normal, you can click the enter, and then just hit OK. Shows you your system ID, and then you can read the fault codes, clear the fault codes in that system, or you can read the data stream. And in here, you could select all, but it only allows up to 16, I believe. Let's try it and see. Or 12. It only allows 12. No, 16. So let's get rid of a couple that I know I don't need. Let's speed sensor because we're not moving. Sys 1, 2. Let's get rid of these two. There's well, we can select those. That gives us our 16. So and then hit OK. And you can also go to the diagnostic mode this way and see your live data stream. So it still shows all the values. There's the airflow sensor. air temp sensor, boost sensor. I mean, it's got pretty good range. Go to your page 2, just like going through the OBD2 section as well. Shows you long trim, short trim, TP sensor, which is throttle position sensor. So you have to exit out to go to the next mode. Actually, let me try it this way. And then you can just exit out. And then it wants to take you back to the VIN scan, which I'm not a fan of that you have to keep doing that. But you can go to OBD2 here. And then it will run a scan, trying to determine what protocol you're running. Whether it's a CAN bus, J850, and it can't seem to locate my CAN bus, or maybe it did find it here. Looks like it found the VIN. No DTUs in the ECU. All the readiness, that was all the tests it ran. Data stream, but you can't really click on any of this and view. Maybe you can. Let's try it. Okay, yeah, you can go to the next mode. You can read live data, freeze frame mode, fault mode. Let's go for live data, see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's, you can choose what you want on the live data here. Intake absolute pressure, which they call the IMAP, and ignition timing, engine RPM. If you suspect a certain area, you just check the ones you want. I'm going to go ahead and select all of them. Click OK. Now you can view live data. Now notice everything in blue is good. Coolant temperature, it's flagging it red only because I just started the car, so it's just not up to operating temperature yet. Once it gets up to operating temperature, it'll turn blue. It's got a new thermostat. So, and there it confirms it there. Your air intake temperature is only 69 degrees. So it's just not up to operating temperature, so it's going to show that. Shows the B1, B3 locations of the oxygen sensor. Before I move down, the mass airflow sensor, grams per second, shows the amount of flow. It should be around the 3,000 range is fine at idle, but the important thing is up at 2,500. If we raise the RPM, it's showing a little bit of low flow on the mass airflow sensor. Now I live in a really dusty, dirty area, so it's possible that the air filter is just dirty or something. Got to put a new air filter in it. But it's also possible you got some blockage at the mass airflow sensor or something to that effect. But once you go back down the idle, it shows normal flow. So it does red flag any kind of issues you have. Most people aren't going to understand what grams per second is and what the flow means, but the important part there is that it does red flag when there's a problem. So I could actually click this graph here, and now I can actually track my mass airflow sensor. As I increase RPM, it's in the red range, showing the value, and the graph's just kind of creeping up there, showing how fast. I should have a clean acceleration on the airflow up to about the 15 grams per second range, or 1500 grams per second range, or I should say 15.0 grams per second. This is at 7.0 320, which is actually low flow. Uh, as you increase the throttle, it's up to 10. Let's give it a little more, see what it does. 12. So it's probably a dirty air filter because it's been really windy here lately. Let's go back, and you can see everything they got. It's all interactive as you're operating the throttle or various components. Air intake temperature is still low, but now here it shows one of 3 pages. All you got to do is just go up, and then it goes to page 2, and it shows you there. And now you're going to see your bank 1, bank 2 fuel trims. Um, there's a problem there. It'll red flag that. And then on to the next page. Short-term fuel trim and vehicle speed sensor. Of course, we're not moving, so it's not going to show anything, but you could actually drive your vehicle and test your speed sensor on the road, which is actually nice. So let's go back to page 2, page 1. And that's just a brief overview of the live data you can look at using this unit. Like I said, it's actually basic data. An actual professional scan tool that you'd use in a shop would have far more capabilities, much more data. But I do want to show you something in a sec here. Let's back out of this, and we're going to back out of all this mode here. This menu, you can go through it. You can do different functions based on what's showing up there. But what I want to do is go back to main screen. You have the IM report, so you can hit that, and gives you your readiness report of all the basic functions. I need to do a check and give you a pass fail, green or red. Let's see, it takes a sec to do. Now this is an Android based unit, so depending on the processor and memory, it's going to take a little time. So it's different than your proprietary units that are optimized for various brands of vehicles and their systems. So no misfires, no fuel system problems, comprehensive components, catalyst, VAP system, O2 sensor heater. Now I do want to say something. Most VAP system error codes you get are not a big deal. It's not going to keep the car running usually, or from running usually. Um, it's just a leak in the evaporative emission systems usually, which usually has more to do with your fuel tank and how the vapors are purged to the fuel tank and so forth. So unless you have an actual leak, it's not really going to affect the running of the car. Okay, now you have your reset functions, and here you can do brake system reset, oil light reset, supplemental restraint reset, electronic throttle reset and return, TPMS, that's your tire pressures. You can set that as well to your tire pressures, and I believe you can download and order more reset functions, and we'll look at that in a sec. Battery voltage, that's pretty basic. That's just a simple voltmeter running about 14.2 volts there, something to that effect. Graphs it out for you. Most battery voltages are between 13.8 and 14.5 volts on most systems, so anything in that range you're fine. Let's back out of here. Data, this is kind of a nice feature. There's a DTC library You can view your diagnostic reports, your records, the feedback. I haven't even clicked on that, so I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what image is. But let's go to DTC, and you can actually put in a code. Let's say, let's put in a VAP code, PO443 or 440. That's a pretty common code right there. And VAP mission system, that's kind of a general code. That's just anything that leaks in the system, that code's going to come up. Usually a gas cap will cause that. Alright, and then DLC, it shows you the location of your DLC connector, which is the C there, 16 pin connector, which is kind of after the fact because you got to hook it up to the car before you can get to that screen, but you can manually enter the vehicle too and then press on that and it'll show you where the DLC connector is on your vehicle. So that's kind of a nice feature actually. I haven't tried firmware fix. I'm not going to go into that. So let's back out. Last thing I was going to show you was the mall. And that takes a sec to load up. And as you can see, there's all kinds of downloadable modules. It's an Android, so you're just downloading a program module. But and it's going to cost you. But generally, you're not going to need any of this kind of stuff. You know, it's there. This is for the professional. The professional's going to have a far more expensive unit. But then again, maybe for brake bleeding or something to that effect, you might need the module. So you know, there are modules there, but pretty much for diagnosis, everything basics here. And last thing, if there's any upgrades, which there is here, I'm not going to upgrade right now. There's a couple updates, free updates for live. Just click the ones you want to update and then click update. And then it connects to your Wi-Fi and updates. It just takes a sec if you have a good Wi-Fi connection. And then you have your settings where you can change your setting values and so forth. So what do I think of this unit as a professional? You know, it's definitely good for the DIY, or DIY, excuse me. I keep saying DIY, but it's a DIY for do-it-yourselfers. But professional mechanics like myself can find good use of this as well. Their price point is good. It's modular to where you can download additional modules. Is it full featured that I would use in a professional shop? Absolutely not. Because I need scope functions. I need actually do more in-depth diagnostics with trace elements and things of that nature to really hone in on some diagnostic. Because usually when you bring it to a professional, it's usually the really weird or off-fall stuff that you can't fix yourself, and we need specialized equipment to do that. So, but for my home needs, this will diagnose pretty much anything I need to diagnose. And from here, like I said before, this will not point to the actual problem, or I should say it may not necessarily point to the problem, but you can it will point you in the right direction, and from there you still have to do your volt-ohm meter checks, amp meter checks, visual inspections, and you kind of got to know the systems to really know what to look for. So just because you set a code, there may be something next to it that's actually causing the problem, not what's being has the code set. But all in all, I think it's a great little unit. It seems to be very sturdy, very dependable, very well built, and seems to have a pretty decent software package loaded to it. So I'll give this a 8.5, maybe a 9 for the value. As to its capabilities and what it can do, I think it's a good little unit.